The 2000s were a time where first-person shooters littered the landscapes of gaming. Some titans would rise, such as the Halo series, as well as the Call of Duty series. Some we would see the downfall, such as Medal of Honor. And some, well, some just never got their chance to shine. You see, the PS3 really struggled to get good shooters to compete with the juggernauts of Halo and Gears of War. You have Killzone, you have MAG, but can these really compare to the greats? Today, we're going to take a look at Haze, and I'll explain to you why it is a sleeper hit that was unfortunately overshadowed by other titles of the time. Haze was originally going to be a multi-platform release, however, these ended up being cancelled, so this ended up making Haze a PS3 exclusive. From the title screen, you can tell this game wastes no time with its presentation. It's simple, clean, and some might call it dystopian. This will loop back with the themes presented in the game's gameplay as well as story.
Thanks, sir.
Sir, buddy, we're both sergeants. You don't have to call me anything but my name. I'm Morgan DeVal.
Speaking of the story, let's start with that. You play as Carpenter, who is a soldier who enlisted to fight back against the ethnic cleansing that's happening in South America by the Skinwalkers. To make things easier, you and your fellow men are administered a drug called Nectar to enhance your abilities to fight against your enemies. The storytelling in this game is very layered. It took till my third-ish playthrough, about midway, I could really tell the propaganda undertones that were on display.
You're an ape! A monkey! Doing whatever those chemicals tell you to do!
Looping back to the main menu, you can see the developer's intentions behind that menu. It wants to inform you as little as possible. Here's the game, play it, no questions. Have a listen at this cutscene to see if you can tell what this game's all about.
But until now, you have let someone else tell you what's right and what's wrong. You let someone sell you on their morality. But the moral battle is inside.
Minor spoiler, you actually defect and help the militia forces after figuring out that maybe you were the baddies all along. However, the title screen intro actually blatantly says this, and I'm not sure if it's a spoiler or not.
The good fight. Yeah, that's what I thought until the day I broke away from Mantle. Their lies, their nectar. That day, I changed sides.
But for the rest of the story, you have to play for yourself to see how it all ends up. Let's talk about gameplay. Haze has many intricate set pieces to allow for dynamic gunplay. For example, using your Nectar makes you this some sort of super soldier. You get increased speed, damage reduction, melee damage increase, and enemies light up white like a thermal scope. As sophisticated as this drug is, it does beg the question, why doesn't their helmets just act as a thermal anyways? As for your arsenal of weapons, there are a good variety of generalized weapons, such as the assault rifles, shotguns, snipers, all of which are very good at killing living things. I would like to split off here for a second and talk about the controls. Haze's control scheme is one that should have taken off, but unfortunately was beaten out by inferior control schemes such as Halo's layout. Let's take a look at Sony's 6-axis controller, more specifically, the triggers. Haze's scheme sets the default fire button as R1 instead of the common R2. But why would you do this? This game takes place in the future, and it's probably safe to say gun technology has advanced to a point of no longer needing a trigger action to fire a weapon. They have probably moved on to a push button system. Therefore, since the R2 button is an analog motion, it would make the most sense for a tactile and static R1 button for the firing motion. R2 is the melee function, which really suits the button a lot more. It really feels as if I'm swinging the butt of my rifle into someone when I squeeze that trigger. Taking a look at the left side of the controller is L2, which is a Nectar button. And this is very appropriate for that specific button. Nectar is a drug, and like most drugs, they are dangerous. And when a drug is dangerous, it means you can overdose. If you were to lay down your controller without pausing the game first, you may press in that button, which is what I think the designers were going for. I know for some these may seem just like buttons. However, when you peel back some of the skin, you can really tell what the designers' intentions were under the hood of these controls. Very clever. Another commonly overlooked feature is the masterful use of motion controls in this game. Motion controls actually come up in one segment to cleanse flames from your body. The way you do this is you must shake the controller or jiggle the sticks. I think what they were trying to convey with this is a stop, drop, and roll motion, but instead you're doing it with your hands. It's very intuitive. Back on about the gameplay. Haze kind of rewrites and defines what it means to be a 2000s era shooter. You can assault beaches on a four-wheeler, defuse mines with your gun, roam around a crash site, shoot up militias in a jungle, and also stop the process of an underground mining area. When thinking back, I struggle to find FPS games that deliver on this variety of gameplay and mission design. Also, the difficulty for this game is near perfect. My copy of the game would crash every time I would die, which I was thankful for because this allowed me to be severely punished for my mistakes. The aim assist in this game is negligible, which is a good thing. After playing Halo, I am sick of having a permanent aimbot all the time. This makes things much more realistic and smooth. Due to story reasons, your nectar usage gets removed and is added into the much more interesting feigned death feature. If at any point you feel threatened, you can pretend to be dead, which will allow your teammates to come save you. With faking your death, this allows you to change up your approach. For example, I could run in guns blazing, play possum, and when I wake up, I could kill somebody. Quick side note on the graphics. The developers have a really good quote that a lot of Nintendo fans should keep in their pocket when the topic arises. This game runs in 30 frames per second. The team claimed that 60 frames per second was not needed for the pacing of this game, and I agree wholeheartedly. You really only need full visual fidelity in a game that needs it. The pacing at this game really makes it comfy at 30 frames. Similar to how Pokemon on the Switch has a very dynamic frame rate. You really don't need a stable 60 in the wild area when 15 will suffice and look better for its pacing. The dialogue is also well written. It accurately portrays what a youngster that was brainwashed would be like in the military.
Sure is better than coffee and a slap in the face.
I am so ready to liberate some natives.
Hell yeah! Boosh!
You speak American?
You're not going anywhere, motherfuckers!
Ah! 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 You fucking We're trying to free you people.
Same goes for the militiamen. The frequency they talk is just about right too. It makes the battlefield feel a lot more alive.
We will not let down Merino! Come on, step up or
I killed another one!
Mantel, you have murdered enough. You die. No mercy for Mantel!
I like to give my games a numbered score, so here's my final rating for Haze. Haze gets an 857 out of 1000 for my review. Here is the score breakdown. 300 points for the well done story, 100 points for the memorable dialogue, 400 points for the gameplay, 50 points for the controller layout, and finally, 7 points because it's a lucky number. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.